Yo, what's up? We're back, and this week we're going to be doing another breakdown for another really good fight card, UFC 250. This is actually going to be fight card between Amanda Nunes, Felicia Spencer's the headliner, but a lot of interesting fights all throughout the card. Actually, I think this is kind of a sleeper card. It's a pretty good card, and we're starting off with a good fight on the first fight of the night. Herbert Burns taking on Evan Dunham. We do have Evan Dunham returning here from a short retirement. Obviously, Herbert Burns is going to be taking all that momentum that his brother just had, trying to use that to get a win here. And it will be a second straight victory if he's able to do it. We did see him get that big knockout over Nate Landwehr in his debut. If he can beat a guy like Evan Dunham, who's been a perennial, top 20, top 15 guy at 155 pounds, it might be time for a top 15 test for Burns. Burns, he is improving as a striker. More confidence in his striking, obviously, as he continues to progress. He throws straight shots. He'll stay light on his feet. He tries to bounce in and out. Probably is going to be a little bit faster here. Good jab. He will throw the 1-2, the straight right hand very often. He'll occasionally throw a jab overhand right. He will throw some nice leg kicks, front kicks, round kicks to the body. And in Burns' last match, he did land that beautiful knee as his opponent blitzed in, took him out. But his defense, is a liability. He's a little bit hittable. He will throw his kicks without setting them up. A lot of naked kicks. Doesn't have big power in his hands. Isn't the best boxer. Doesn't like being pressured. And he will start flopping to his back. Things like that if he starts to feel like he's getting outstruck pretty badly. He only has one career KO in his career, which was his last fight. So, he probably is riding momentum off that. But most of the time, he isn't going to knock you out. His jiu-jitsu is really good. I mean, that's where his bread is buttered. He really likes to close the distance immediately, try to get in a clinch, shoot in on double legs. Pretty quick level change, good double leg. And you also look for trips, foot sweeps. He'll pull guard. When Burns gets top position, he's very good at taking the back. He has a good body triangle, good control. And in his last match, he did lock in a nice front choke. He almost put Nate Landwehr out with that choke. And Landwehr was able to eventually scramble back to his feet. Burns does get a lot of submissions off his back. He'll go inverted. He'll attack the legs. Good triangles. Good arm bars. He can be losing the entire fight, then pull off a submission. I mean, good at chaining them together. Similar to maybe like a guy like Brandon Royval that we saw in terms of he could switch from one submission to another. But obviously Burns is a much higher level jiu-jitsu guy than he was. But Burns, flopping to his back, his limited striking can look bad in decisions. He does have 7 subs, but he's only 2-2 in decisions. And his opponent, Evan Dunham, he is making that short-lived, or return after that short-lived retirement, like I said. He hasn't fought in about 2 years, and he hasn't earned a win since 2016, so it's been a while for Evan Dunham. He is a career lightweight. In 20 UFC fights, he fought all 20 at 155. So at 38 years old, Dunham says he's in the best shape of his life. He's actually taking this fight at a catch weight, 150 pounds. So he has that hunger back. So we're going to see if he has one more run left in him here. On the feet, Dunham has good boxing. He's a southpaw. Good feints, good fakes, good counters. Good jab. He'll throw some nice combinations. Double jab his way into body shots. Come up into hooks. He'll come forward with these wide looping shots. He likes to throw tight hook counters inside. Wide shots trying to close the distance. He will feint, draw out the attack of his opponents, pull counter. Pretty effective with that. Doesn't kick much, but he will throw some tricky high kicks. He can strike going forward or going backwards. He can move around on the outside. Can be a little bit awkward with his timing, dart in, dart out. He's also pretty good at pressuring hard, making the cage small. And he's hittable early on. He isn't the fastest guy. He could struggle to get inside. Doesn't check leg kicks. And Evan Dunham is a tough, durable warrior. His calling card throughout his career has always been, the ability to get hurt, persevere, come forward like a zombie. And he has a sick chin. He just breaks guys. But he has been getting hurt to the body in recent fights. His last 2 fights, he was finished with body shots. And he has been finished 4 times by strikes. 3 times has been to the body. Dunham is a sick grappler. He is a former wrestler. He's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. And he owns his own jiu-jitsu school. I mean, he's very immersed in the grappling realm here. He's comfortable on top, off of his back. Very nice double leg in the clinch. He's very physical, good trips, good body locks. he's going to be the much bigger fighter here. I think he should dominate the clinch against a guy like Herbert Burns. He's a grinder. He'll control the underhooks, dirty box, just lean on fighters against the cage. In top position, Dunham has good control. Isn't super dangerous, but he will take a decision. Dangerous guard if you do take him down. He'll throw up subs, leg locks. Really good deep half guard sweep. Good at working his way back to his feet quickly as well. When he's taken down, he's just very hard to control. Very good in the scrambles. Very good submission defense. He's only been submitted one time in his career. And in that fight that he got submitted against Donald Cerrone, he was battered on the feet previously, got hurt, and then was submitted. So it wasn't like he was just getting out jiu-jitsu'd. And Dunham has 6 submissions himself. And this is an intriguing fight to me. I think Dunham is a bit better probably with the striking and the wrestling. His jiu-jitsu is very good as well. More methodical top game player, position over submission. And maybe that's going to be enough to negate the dynamic jiu-jitsu of a guy like Burns. Burns' advantages are going to be the athleticism, the youth, just the ability to finish the fight. He's more dynamic with his jiu-jitsu. Even against a guy like Evan, if Evan isn't sharp, he could submit him. And Burns' striking, I don't think is on the level of Dunham's, but he is faster. He does have some nice body attacks. And if Evan is still very weak to the body, maybe a front knee up the middle, front kick, round kick, could take out Dunham. But if Dunham gets on top here, I think that he's going to be better along with pressuring. I think he's the better boxer, the bigger guy. He needs to bully. He needs to get inside, dirty box, get Burns against the fence, maul him, take him down, get him tired. And if he can implement that game plan, I think he's going to start to tag Burns on the feet also as the rounds continue. I actually feel Dunham should get this one done, man. I'm going to pick him. He has way more experience. He's fought the way better guys. He's, I believe has the path to victory with his wrestling. I just believe that Herbert Burns, we've seen him grind it out previously in more than one fight before. And we've seen that he likes to play off his back, and he only has 1 knockout. Evan is a guy that's very durable, great wrestling, great submission defense, great top game player. So I think that spells out that if Herbert doesn't get his finish, if he doesn't get his submission off of his back or get a knockout, he's probably going to lose this fight. So I'm going to pick Evan Dunham to win by decision. I do want to monitor his weight cut to 150, hear what he's saying during the week. And but as of now, my pick is going to be Evan Dunham to bring the upset here. Up next year with the second fight of the night, we do have Devin Clark taking on Alonzo Menifield. Take him down, fight get him tired. Like that game plan. Devin Clark is going to start to tag Burns that want to come up, want to make it into the top 15. I actually feel Dunham should get this one done, man. I'm going to pick him. He is way more experienced. And Alonzo Menifield is getting that test here. Better guys. He is 3-0 in the UFC, or he's 2-0 in the UFC, trying to path to victory with his wrestling. I just believe that not only is he defeated in the UFC, but he's 9-0. He's finished all 9 of his opponents. So has been doing work so far in his MMA career. He's a former football player, so he's a very great explosive athlete. I believe he did play pro football. Very fast, throws with bad intentions, always starts very quickly, and he tries to take guys out right away. Good jab, good 1-2, likes to close the distance with a really powerful leaping left hook. He's probably going to lose this fight. He has good left hook, overhand right combination. To win by decision. I do want to monitor some dangerous hooks inside. Hear what he's saying during the week. He goes with 100% power, and he's trying to take your head off. But as of now, my pick is going to be Evan Dunham to bring the upset here. He will throw some nice kicks. He has some hard leg kicks, decent body and head kicks as well. Good speed on the kicks and good forward pressure. He does take advantage when fighters make mistakes. His last 2 fights, his opponents turned their backs and Menifield's capitalized and finished the fight that way. He is improving also. His composure is still not the best. He could swing big, swing wide at times. I've seen him get rocked, get countered, get taken down because of that. He needs to be more composed. He can't allow Clark to get in on his legs. But he has finished 8 of his 9 wins via knockout. He is a knockout artist. Good chin, sturdy, durable guy. And, he's a half-decent offensive grappler. He will use double legs. He's very explosive. When he gets in on the legs, he can land slams. In the clinch, he's very strong. He'll look for knees, singles, doubles. I've seen him, hit a high crotch single and slam opponents. Great job taking the back quickly after takedowns. He does have a rear naked choke on his record. Good ground and pound as well. If he does drop an opponent, he's very good at pouncing and finishing the fight in top position. And a large majority of his wins come that way. I mean, his last 2 fights, he viciously put Paul Craig unconscious with some punches, took out Vinicius Moreira. And Alonzo Menifield's defensive grappling is still kind of a question mark. He plants his feet and throws really hard, so opponents do have that chance to time him and take him down. Daniel Jolly was able to take him down a couple times, once with the double leg, once with the body lock. And Menifield was able to work quickly back to his feet against the cage. But in the center of the cage, Menifield did regain guard, but he laid flat on his back. He just kind of controlled the position until the ref stood them up. And against a guy like Clark, who's good enough at being active enough to make the ref keep him down, that's not going to be a good game plan there. I don't see him being able to stand up, though, against an explosive wrestler like Clark if he gets taken down. So he needs to have that defensive wrestling on point. Menifield, he did allow Vinicius Moreira to get pretty deep on a body lock, controlled him against the fence, but showed good takedown defense. And even against Paul Craig, he was able to defend a pretty deep double leg. Those guys aren't explosive athletes like Devin Clark is, though, so this is something that is going to be a new test for Alonzo. Menifield, he isn't a submission threat. He only has 1 in his career, and he's gotten his work done early. I mean, almost all his wins are in the first round. Who knows how fresh he'll be in the 3rd round. If Clark can hit some takedowns, grind on him, the fight, could be pretty close. And if he can, come weather that, Menifield that is, and actually get the win, then that'll answer a lot of questions about what level Menifield is at. But Devin Clark, he's continued this trend of win-loss so far in his UFC career. He was able to bounce back from that loss to Ryan Spann and got that victory over Daquan Townsend. Kind of just dominant wrestling, heavy decision. And since 2017, he's just been trading wins and losses. So in Clark's UFC career, if he makes it to the final bell, he wins. I mean, he's 5-0 in decisions. And he's been finishing all 4 of his losses. He has 0 finishes in the UFC. So, I mean, he is dangerous. He's solid inside-outside leg kicks. He did drop Darko Stosic with the jab. He'll throw a good one, too. His straight and overhand right are pretty decent. And he will close the distance with hook or straight punch combinations. Good leaping left hook. He was able to drop Alexander Rakic with that. He will throw some front kicks, hook kicks to the body, to the head, some Superman punches. Throws a lot of spinning shots. And he tries to use a lot of explosive actions to close the distance. And he's just doing that to get into wrestling position. But when fighters pressure him, he will try to use spinning back fist to counter. And that can be successful, but I mean, he goes to the well with it too much. And against a guy like Alonzo, that's going to get him in trouble here. And he also holds his hands low. And he can close the distance a little bit sloppily with his chin high. He can turn his back at times, like I said. And he has gotten a little more composed. He sticks and moves a little bit better. Uses a little bit better lateral movement. But his striking is to all set up entries to get the fight to the ground. And he's still a little spastic with the striking. He does have big power. He's explosive. 3 knockouts. He has been finished by strikes 3 times. And Devin Clark, he's a junior national wrestling champion, junior college national wrestling champion. And I've seen him trying to get this fight to the mat. He has good control in the clinch. He will hold opponents against the cage, work knees, work elbows. Works well off the breaks. He'll throw combinations when an opponent disengages, then reclinch. He was able to do that to Darko Stosic very effectively, along with Daquan Townsend. But Daquan Townsend, just didn't have much once he went to his back. Clark was able to control him, really. Clark will feint his way into his double leg. He does a good job of feinting the level change, coming up into a straight or uppercut. And then, after he lands, going directly back into a takedown attempts. When he gets his hands connected, he will take opponents down easily. He can take them for a ride, strong body locks. His top control isn't elite, but it isn't bad. He will look to trap a wrist. He does try to turk the legs, move directly into mount. Good job of getting to that wrestling ride position, throwing down shots. He has cardio. He can wrestle for 3 rounds. He can, reshoot, mat return guys. And in his last match, he did have success with the wrestling. And, was kind of able to have an easy fight. But in his fight with Ryan Spann, he ultimately did succumb to that guillotine choke. And Devin Clark isn't a submission threat. And he has been submitted twice in his career, both with front chokes. He could sometimes just shoot in very sloppily after he gets hurt, panic wrestle, get caught. And this is a much closer fight than I originally thought, though. When I saw this matchup on paper, I thought that Menifield all day. But Devin Clark, he's way more experienced. He's going to have a chance to grind out a win here. If Menifield can't stop the takedown, I don't think he's going to be able to get back up to his feet once he's taken down. And I've seen Menifield improving his defensive wrestling, though. He has to know the game plan of Clark coming in here. Needs to come forward, pressure, stay composed, kind of have a low stance, don't throw many kicks. Try to put the hands on Clark, and Clark doesn't like getting pressure, doesn't like getting hit, and he makes mistakes. That's where Menifield is going to be able to capitalize. I wouldn't be surprised to see Clark get the decision, though, but I'm going to stay away from this fight betting-wise. As you can see on the bottom of the screen, the line is minus 230 for Devin Clark, plus 190, or minus 230 for Menifield, plus 190 for Clark. I think that should be a lot closer. I think Menifield should maybe be like a minus 155. So I think the line is off there, but I'm just not willing to bet on a guy like Devin Clark. I have bet on him and cashed on him in the past, like against Darko Stosic, but in this position here against Menifield, I think if Menifield has good cardio, I think if it comes down to that, I think even if he does get taken down, I think eventually he will find the knockout, and it could come early as well. So I'm going to go with Menifield. I think he's going to get it done, but I do think the fight is a dog or pass, and probably just a pass fight. And up next here we have one of my favorite fights on the card, Alex Perez taking on Jussier Formiga. And actually one of my most confident picks on the card after doing the tape on this fight. Alex Perez, he did bounce back from his loss to Joseph Benavidez. He's gotten back-to-back victories. And that's earned him another chance here at a top guy in the division in Jussier. And Perez, he's still yet to get that marquee win in the UFC, but he's been running over these lower-level competition guys. We saw him get that first-round submission his last time out, and he's handling them like you're supposed to. But some matchups, I will say, he hasn't been handling them in the best way either. I think he's had some close fights with guys like Mark De La Rosa. So Perez, he's a pressure fighter on the feet, keeps his shoulders tight, has decent head movement, he walks you down. He will change speeds, feint, fake, try to work his way inside. Good at coming in, swarming opponents with these wide hooks. And he does have fast hands, he has power. If he can get an opponent to shell up or move backwards or in a straight line, they're toast. I mean, he'll land big shots, he'll mix in uppercuts, and try to take you out. He'll throw standing elbows. He isn't the biggest kicker, but he will throw some low kicks. Perez is wide with his punches, though. Fighters can stick and move on him. He also doesn't check low kicks very well. Perez has good striking, but not great. He's hittable. He can be predictable. He is durable. He's a big guy for the weight class. He can take a shot, has power, 4 knockouts, all in the first round. And Perez is a strong grappler. He's a former All-American wrestler. Very big for the 125-pound class. Likes to grapple in almost all his fights. So it's going to be interesting to see what kind of game plan he comes in with here. Perez, he's very physical in the clinch. Good job of getting in on single legs, pushing fighters to the cage, and chain wrestling from there. And he's a beast on top, especially at 125 pounds. Very heavy. He'll posture up, rain down heavy shots. He's very aggressive with his ground and pound. He'll hang out inside fighters' guards. He'll pass the side control, pass the dominant positions, laying ground and pound. Early on in his career, Perez was caught in a couple submissions, so he has to be careful here. He also likes to get that wrestling right position on the back, work ground and pound, threaten back takes, front chokes. And if Perez can get to the front headlock position, he's dangerous. He has good guillotine. He has a deadly anaconda. In his last fight, he did get a very nice arm triangle. He didn't even have to pass half guard to put his opponent out cold, so he showed that he had a really sick squeeze. He does have 7 career submissions. He hasn't faced many fighters who have tried to take him down in his UFC career, though. He does have 87% takedown defense. The only guy that was able to take him down was Joseph Benavidez. Joe B was able to quickly work to a dominant position, not once but twice, and finish the fight, though. This fight will be a real test for Perez. Perez has been submitted 3 times. Formiga is going to have to weather the storm in round 1. Perez comes out hard. 10 of his 11 wins have come in round 1, or 10 of his 11 finishes. Perez has decent cardio, but he isn't dangerous as the fight progresses, or isn't as dangerous. Jussier Formiga, I mean, he's one of the best flyweights of all time. He holds victories over guys like Wilson Hayes, Stevenson Figueiredo, Sergio Pettis, Dustin Ortiz. And he's now 35 years old. He's coming off of back-to-back losses. So he badly needs a win here. A win over Perez would show he's still relevant. He's still a tough out for anyone. And on the feet, he's very sharp. He's a technical striker. He's improved that part of his game. He's light on his feet, clean, good footwork. He'll throw a jab, straight right hand, jab, left hook. He has a nice lead left hook. He'll throw a lot of uppercuts to a left hand uppercut, overhand right combination. He'll throw some nice overhand rights. He's good at landing it, going backwards and then level changing into a double leg. He has fantastic leg kicks, really improved his leg kicks. I think that's going to be a big factor in this fight. More of a counter striker. He'll wait for fighters to close the distance, land a right hook, jab them, clinch up. He's trying to off-balance you on the feet, keep you off rhythm, and, land counters. He'll land wide hooks when he's in the pocket. He's very good at using his overhand right to land, grab a hold of the clinch, dig double underhooks, land knees, land short uppercuts. He also has a really nice, tricky spinning back fist. He'll throw some spinning heel kicks, and he's fought the best of the best. He's had good success. He's had losses, but he's been TKO twice, but his striking, has vastly improved. Even in his fight with Joseph Benavidez, he was winning that fight, I believe, the second one before he got caught with the head kick. And if you're a big MMA fan, you know how good of a grappler Jussier Formiga is. He's an elite grappler. We talk about all these guys that were elite jiu-jitsu black belts to become very good wrestlers, the Damian Maias, people like that. But a name that doesn't get mentioned, man, is Jussier Formiga. This guy has some elite offensive and defensive wrestling now. His jiu-jitsu takedowns are very good, but he has really good timing on his double legs. His clinch takedowns are just a thing of beauty. He'll use the double to get in on a tight waist, take the back from standing, catches kicks and gets takedowns very well. And his defensive wrestling, man, is just incredible. He has some of the best takedown defense in the history of the 125-pound division. We've seen him out-wrestle guys like Joseph Benavidez. He wasn't taken down at all by a guy like Ray Byrd, was defending all of his takedowns. This guy is a cat. When you see him try to get taken down, he's just extremely good at staying on his feet. And his single leg defense is very good. Elite level. And that's the takedown that Alex Perez likes to get. If you look at Jussier's career, most jiu-jitsu guys, they like to play on their back, look for submissions. Jussier isn't that way. He's a back taker, wants to be on top. He doesn't accept bottom position, elite scrambler, very good wrestler. And due to that, like I said, he hasn't been taken down since November of 2015 against Henry Cejudo. That's the last guy that took him down. And when he gets on top, he's a fucking monster, man. He's one of the best back takers in the sport. Once he takes the back, he'll get that body triangle in. And you're usually not going anywhere. If he's on your back, he's either going to submit you or ride out the round most of the time. And this is most likely his last chance to get a title fight. So, I guaranteed he's trained like a wild man. I know that he has to, really be in great shape here. I struggle to see why Jussier Formiga is the underdog in this fight. I feel as if on the feet he's better. I think he's going to use that low calf kick. He's going to be moving a lot, looking for entries in the clinch, frustrating Perez. I think he has the tighter, straighter punches. I think Perez is going to need to come hard with the forward pressure, try to get Formiga to open up and brawl. Try to maybe mix in some takedowns because that's his default, but I don't think he's going to be able to get him. I think Formiga is actually going to be the more likely guy to get the takedown. I think if Formiga does take him down, he could finish him. Perez is going to need to land a big shot, knock Formiga out, I think. I don't see many other paths to victory besides that for Perez. And for that to happen, it's going to need to be in round one also, probably. We've seen that all of Perez's finishes have came in round one, all of his knockouts. So my pick is going to be Formiga to get this done at some point inside the distance by rear naked choke, actually. And I'm pretty confident in this pick. Up next here we have the second Fortis MMA guy of the night, Charles Byrd. Actually the Fortis MMA captain here. And he's going to be making his return. He had an extended hiatus. He's coming off of back-to-back losses as well, both knockouts. So, at 36 years old, this is probably his last run. If he loses this one, I would assume he's probably going to be cut from the UFC. So this is a do-or-die fight for Charles Byrd. And Byrd, actually, he's a well-rounded guy. He's pretty technical in the striking realm. The main issue with Byrd is his chin issues and his cardio, man. But he's been finished by strikes in back-to-back fights. He was knocked out in less than 40 seconds in his last fight. But he's athletic. He likes to be the aggressor. He comes forward, good feints, good level changes. He frees his opponents, with those attacks to get in safely. Good lead hand. He'll jab his way into range, throw some nice lead hooks. Byrd likes to blitz forward, following the jab with 2-3 hard straight punches in a row. He'll mix in uppercuts when he gets inside, short hooks. Good at getting his opponents going backwards with the combination, immediately level changing, getting in on the legs. He keeps fighters off balance, and he also has a really nice rear leg kick, really nice round kicks, body head. Does look a bit hesitant to exchange. He will grab a lot in the pocket, doesn't take a shot well. Byrd in his last match was finished with elbows, winning on a single leg, and he's actually been finished with elbows in his last 2 fights. Byrd does have 3 knockouts, but his main objective in fights is to get the fight to the mat. And he's a strong grappler, very good in top position, very nice level changes, sets his takedowns up well, finishes the single leg against the cage usually. And he's shown the last 2 fights, though, that he isn't the best at finishing the takedowns. Darren Stewart, Edmund Shabazian were able to use the cage to stay on their feet, weren't taken down. And Byrd was able to get pretty deep on entries and couldn't get the finish. Byrd does do a good job of staying active in the clinch, working elbows, working knees, controlling the position. And he was kind of defeating Darren Stewart the whole fight, kind of with striking, with grappling, just by mixing it up, cage control. But eventually got caught with the elbow in close, and you can't do that against a guy like Darren Stewart. He got knocked out. And in his last match, he shot in on a single leg, got hit with a few elbows to the side of the head and went out. And we really didn't get to see much in that one. When Byrd can get fights to the mat, that's where he shines. He's very heavy on top, passes very well. He'll sit in half guard, chip away, look for the arm triangle. He'll progress to mount, good control, good ground and pound. He'll look for arm triangles, look for them to give their back, choke them out. When Byrd fought John Phillips, it was a clinic on the mat, and then he ultimately finished him with the first round rear naked choke. He's finished 5 of his pro wins via submission. He has been submitted twice. Those were early in his career. I haven't seen many opponents shoot in recent fights on Byrd, but I don't think he's going to have to worry about that against Maki. He's going to be looking for takedowns, and if he gets them, I think he's going to be successful. Byrd, that is. Byrd is a finisher. He likes to get his work done early as well. 7 of his 8 finishes have came in the first round. So 7 of his 10 wins overall have came in the first round. And he's been finishing round 1 3 times himself. So goes out there to be killed or be killed in that round 1. He's gotten a decision only 3 times in 16 fights. And he does slow down. His cardio looks average at best. But Maki Pitolo will be looking for some redemption here. He was a massive favorite in his UFC debut, but dropped the ball, lost to Callum Potter, and is moving back up to 185 pounds. That is where he got the win on the Dana White Contender Series, but this is only his second career fight here at 85s. Pitolo, he's a good boxer, good jab, good 1-2. He will throw some nice inside-outside leg kicks, good attacking the body with shots, excellent left hook, good at touching opponents and then mixing in power shots. Sometimes fighters can land hooks or overhands to counter his jab, and he can get clipped a bit when he's forced to move backwards. Pitolo, you could tell, man. He likes to turn up and throw these long combinations, touch, and, he was able to attack the body, land some excellent uppercuts, hook combos against Justin Sumter, and when he can put his hands together, he gets very confident. He'll mix in some flying knees, elbows, especially when he can get guys back to go against the cage. But man, he doesn't move his head, and I don't think he expects guys to throw back at him. He's too green. A lot of the guys that he's beaten, he's been able to bully, land his punching combinations, and they just shell up and let him beat him down. But when guys throw back, you saw Callum Potter was landing crazy combos to the head of Maki Pitolo. Pitolo wasn't moving at all, flat-footed, standing straight up, chin in the air. He was touching way too much, and Pitolo just wouldn't respect the power, come over the top. He got bullied by Pitolo, man, or by Potter, man. And he can get hurt. He doesn't have a good chin. He has been KO'd twice in his career, 5 KOs himself. And his grappling, I don't think it's very good. He's been submitted by Dakota Cochran. Callum Potter was able to take him down and control him. Potter also had a lot of success controlling Pitolo against the cage, wearing him out. Don't see Pitolo looking for takedowns here. But he has to be ready to defend a large dose of them. And he has been submitted twice. He has 3 submissions himself. Looking at this fight, man, unless Charles Byrd is washed, I think he should get this done. Byrd is going to be the bigger guy. I believe more powerful, more explosive. I think he's going to be able to get inside, lay in combos, clinch up against the cage, get takedowns. Pitolo isn't a heavy hitter, so he should be able to take the shots that Pitolo throws. Pitolo has been submitted twice. I think if Byrd can get on top with time to work, he probably will get a submission or finish. The longer this fight goes, I could be a little nervous that Pitolo could get a late round TKO if Charles just totally gasses. I just feel Byrd is too much of a veteran here. I think he's going to win via first round submission. Man, up next here, Cody Stamann taking on Brian Kelleher. And fuck, man, I've had a lot of trouble with this fight. I've had a lot of trouble with Brian Kelleher fights in general, man. I mean, his last fight against Hunter Azor, I was really confident Hunter Azor was going to be able to get that win. And Kelleher came out there, got the big knockout. And man, I mean, he's getting a big opportunity here fighting Cody Stamann. And I will say this is a good matchup for Kelleher in terms of a top 10 guy that he does have the potential to beat. But Cody Stamann, everyone knows he's been itching to fight ever since the night of his questionable draw with Song Yadong. He did have a matchup in place with Ione Barcelos, but that fight got scrapped. And Stamann essentially set this fight up on social media. He called out Kelleher, got what he wanted. And this is a step down for him ranking-wise. But Kelleher has a good name right now. He's streaking. And it's a good matchup for Cody Stamann to stay active and try to get another victory here. Cody Stamann on the feet likes to pressure, feint level changes, keep fighters off balance, decent kicks. He jabs his way into range, good defense, good left hook. He'll shoot some nice straight punches, body, head. He stays very tight, good movement, high guard. Doesn't get hit much. And when he does get hit, Stamann has a great chin. I mean, he'll just eat those shots, smile. But man, I mean, I don't think Cody's striking is that great. I mean, he throws a lot of, front kicks, front leg side kicks, things like that, jabs, straight punches. He has a good high kick. He'll throw a straight right or a jab to a high kick. He will invest in the body as well, slip and rip, but I just don't think he's very dangerous. He isn't a power striker, and I do think that Kelleher is probably going to walk him down, man. I mean, I don't know why. I don't think he's going to fear the power coming back of Cody Stamann. So Stamann is going to have to get his respect. He's going to have to land a shot and get his respect, in my opinion. But, Cody Stamann, he's never been finished by strikes. He's a guy with a great chin. So, I don't think he's going to be able to finish a guy like Brian Kelleher on the feet. But he definitely has a very good chin. So Kelleher probably won't be able to hurt him like he hurt Hunter Azor. But, man, I mean, Stamann, we all know what his game plan is to try to get it to the ground. He's a very good grappler, very good takedowns, good double legs, good body locks. And he's just very good at control, mat returning guys when they stand up, just staying in that wrestling ride position, maybe even getting to the three-quarter mount, landing hammer fist punches, smart positionally. He doesn't go places where he could get bucked off. But he isn't a big submission threat. He only has 2 submissions in his career. Definitely, the guy that is much more likely to get a finish, in my opinion, is Cody Stamann. Is Brian Kelleher. And so far, 2020 has been a great year for Brian Kelleher. He's already 2-0 with 2 finishes. Was the underdog in both fights. Survived a very tough first round in his last fight that knocked his opponent out cold in round 2. A lot of confidence right now. He's getting a big opportunity with this fight. Kelleher has been calling out Sean O'Malley, who's coincidentally on this card. But this fight with Cody Stamann, though, maybe it's not as big to the fans. But Stamann is a ranked fighter. And if Kelleher can defeat Stamann, you'll probably leapfrog O'Malley in the rankings. Kelleher, he's going to have some advantages here. He has the experience of recently fighting with the extra 10 pounds at featherweight. Also, he's fought with no crowd before. He isn't going to feel weird at all, where Stamann may have to adjust a bit. Kelleher looked very good his last time out. He was able to weather a storm in round 1. Got a brutal knockout in the second. He isn't the most athletic fighter, but he's a true dog, man. Elite cardio, durability, overall toughness. Tends to struggle in round 1 in a lot of his fights. He needs to walk guys down, pressure them, get his opponent a bit tired, and then he goes to work. On the outside, he switches stances, throws a lot of kicks. He has nice leg kicks, front kicks, round kicks, body head, occasional head kicks. He'll try to jab his way in. He'll jab or throw a punch in one stance, then blitz in while switching stances into a straight or an overhand. He has decent head movement. When he can get in the pocket, his hooks, his uppercuts are powerful and dangerous, man. I mean, he could sit down and turn your lights out. We've seen that multiple times. He'll mix in a lot of body shots, and when he sees opponents tired, he'll up the volume, up the forward pressure. His last fight, he closed the show with a big knockout victory. He is very hittable, but he just eats shots and comes forward. Unless opponents can take Kelleher out, they better be ready to keep the pace for 3 rounds, have him in their face for 3 rounds. Kelleher has 8 KO TKOs. He's only been finished by strikes 1 time against John Lineker, and he's a great submission artist. I mean, he's improving his wrestling. We saw that in his fight with Odie Osborne. He had a nice single leg, push him to the cage, switch it to a double, dumped him, ultimately snatched up a guillotine. I would be surprised to see Kelleher land a takedown as the matchup. He is fighting a former college wrestler. I don't see him looking for many takedowns. Kelleher's takedown defense is pretty good, but it's all centered around his guillotine. He's extremely dangerous with that guillotine. If you shoot it in on him, you better protect your neck. He's excellent at using it to roll in a mount or finishing the fight with it by pulling guard. The guillotine makes a lot of opponents hesitant to shoot on him, and he's been taken down just 2 times in the UFC. 84% takedown defense. Hasn't really faced many grapplers, though. He was taken down with the double leg versus Damian Stasiak, got controlled a bit there. Very good get-ups usually. He can be submitted. He tends to get submitted when he's in top position, though. He'll shoot in, get caught in something, or get lazy inside someone's full guard. So I don't think him being submitted off his back is going to be a big thing here in this fight. But he has been submitted 6 times. He has 9 submissions, mostly all guillotines. He's peaking right now. He's won 2 fights in 2020. His chance to leap into the title picture is now. And it's actually a decent matchup for him. The fight to me is much closer than the line indicates. Kelleher is going to be going forward, throwing heat. He has a submission threat with the guillotine, strong takedown defense. And he's probably going to be there for all 3 rounds. He has good cardio, a great chin. I'm just not sure Stamann would be able to... I'm just not sure. I think... Man, I mean, I'm struggling with this fight. Stamann will be able to make him miss, land more shots, get late round takedowns. Stamann is just a better round winner, man. Kelleher is a finisher. I just think if Kelleher doesn't find that finish, Stamann gets the decision. Stamann, he's never been finished. He has an elite level chin. Man, I think it's going to be hard to get a guillotine on a power wrestler like that with, like, no neck. So, I'm going to go with Cody Stamann. But I think the line should be way closer than it is. Up next here, we have an interesting matchup. Ian Heinisch taking on Gerald Meerschaert. Kind of a grappler versus grappler fight. Ian Heinisch, he's a wrestler. He has power on the feet. His striking isn't the greatest, though. He throws a lot of kicks from the outside. Closes the distance with wild hooks, overhands. But it's really all set up by his wrestling. Faking level changes. Just the threat of the wrestling opens up his striking. Very physically strong, wears fighters out in these extended grappling situations. He's always attacking. He's aggressive with his jiu-jitsu. He's a former Division II wrestler. And he has explosive double leg shots. He does a great job setting his shots up with punches. Stalks opponents to the cage. Closes the distance and shoots double, single legs. When he takes fighters down, he works quickly. Likes to get to half guard. And rains down heavy elbows. He can put fighters unconscious with the elbows. Scary individual, man. And in top position, I mean, he has bad intentions. Great job of putting his opponents on the mat and just controlling them. He does a good job putting their head against the cage, throwing ground and pound where it's hard for them to throw up submissions. Good chokes. He'll attack with guillotines, front chokes. He almost caught Cesar Ferreira in a guillotine and an armbar. And when he does get taken down, he'll attack off his back, create scrambles to get back to his feet. Very hard to hold down. And he needs to get takedowns grind in this fight. Heinisch should be able to take Meerschaert down at will. Just needs to mind his P's and Q's on the mat. I really think for Meerschaert, his game plan is to try to box. I don't think he's going to try to take down a powerhouse like Ian. I see Gerald looking at touch. Pulling into the bigger shots. I think his body kicks are going to be coming. He's more technical with the boxing. I think he can maybe touch Ian up a bit, but doesn't have fight-ending power with his hands. He didn't hurt Win with punches, and he has good timing. So if he can time his shot, land right on his jaw, I mean, he doesn't need the power to hurt him. But Gerald isn't the fastest or the greatest athlete. Pretty good lateral movement. And Ian could get reckless, but I think in the small cage, I see Ian being able to close the distance, get the takedowns. Ian also has the more power, and he could maybe touch that chin of Gerald, turn him off. We saw Gerald get dropped by Eric Anders. Mearshard, he's very tricky off his back. Good guard, good sweeps. You could maybe catch Ian in something. I just think Ian is a great wrestler, very heavy on top, smart. I think he should be able to control on top, stay safe, as he's done against other high-level black belts. I think Ian could get a TKO or win a wrestling heavy decision, so I'm going to go with Ian Heinisch to get the victory in this one. Up next here, we have an awesome fight. Chase Hooper taking on Alex Caceres. Interesting fight, right? It's like a guy, Alex Bruce Leroy Caceres, who's been in the UFC for so long. He's fought a ton of guys. But we obviously know what the UFC is trying to do here. They're giving a guy in Bruce Leroy who's been submitted in almost all his submission losses to a guy in Chase Hooper who is a submission artist that they're trying to build. So they're obviously giving Chase Hooper a chance to get the victory here. And it is in the small cage. So Chase Hooper is going to likely be able to close that distance, get in on Alex Caceres. I mean, look how big Chase Hooper is. 6'1", man. 75.5 inch reach. Alex Caceres, he's used to being the longer guy that could stay on the outside and land and not get hit. In this fight, he's not going to have the reach advantage. He already, I mean, I will say, in his last fight against Steven Peterson, did do a better job of circling, only throwing punches, didn't throw as many kicks, used lateral movement, didn't get backed up as much. But even in that fight, he still got taken down. He still got his back taken. This guy gives his back in every single fight, man. And I just think Chase Hooper, I mean, his striking on the feet is not very good. But Alex Caceres isn't a knockout guy. He isn't someone that, you know, is going to hurt someone on the feet with strikes. Most likely, I mean, maybe he'll be able to land a head kick or something on Hooper and put him down. But all the action has came in on Chase Hooper. Hooper, I will say, man, I mean, his ground game is elite. I mean, I will say he has one of the best ground games in the 145-pound division, maybe in the UFC. I mean, his frame for that division gives him grips. The way he can use his legs is just different, man. He has elite passing ability. I mean, the way that he passes, can create scrambles and regain top position or threaten. It's all so, it's awkward and weird, but it's super effective. And when he takes the back or when he gets to a dominant position, he's an orangutan, man. He's so long, he's hard to get away from. And eventually he's going to find that choke and he's going to take you out. I mean, I think Chase Hooper, if he gets on top of Alex Caceres, I think the fight will be over in less than a couple minutes. I think that really Hooper, I mean, when he gets to dominant positions, we saw him, when he got the mount on Daniel Tamer, that fight was over, man. I mean, he beat the shit out of him, took him out, nowhere to go for Tamer, had no idea how to get out. You know, honestly, what I see happening here is I just think Hooper at some point is going to get the clinch, take his back, get a rear naked choke. I mean, we've seen Bruce Leroy submit to rear naked choke 5 times in the UFC. I think it's going to be 6. So I'm going with Chase Hooper via submission. Up next, we have the first fight on the main card. It is the return of the Sugar Show. Sean O'Malley taking on Eddie Wineland. And Sean O'Malley did reintroduce himself to fans. He reminded everyone why people are so high on him. He was off that extended layoff with USADA, but he dominated Tackle Quinones. He knocked him out in the first round. He wasn't even hit a single time in that fight. And at 25 years old, he should be getting better and better. He's fighting a guy in Eddie Wineland, who, you know, is a former WEC champion, who's a guy that is a very tough guy. I mean, Eddie Wineland isn't going to be going in there to lose to anybody. So this is going to be a sizable step up for him. And, you know, he's a stepping stone, but if he's able to pass the test, he's probably going to be starting to get, you know, top 10 names probably. But O'Malley's 72-inch reach for a 135er, that's pretty unique for that division. He also has pretty good power. Uses a lot of lateral movement, great jab. He can throw the jab from both stances, constantly switching stances, fluid and dangerous from both. His right hand is very nice. He has a really nice straight right hand, overhand right, one punch power, very clean with it. He'll land a jab, fake a level change, come over the top with the right hand, knock people out. Great job following it with the head kick. Nasty pull counter. Very accurate. He'll use unique setups, for the right hand as well. He'll look away before he throws it. He has a good uppercut from southpaw. Good kicking game. He'll throw spinning kicks, round kicks, question mark kicks. All very fluid, no tell. When he gets his opponents guessing where the kick is going to go, he can just be very dangerous. I mean, just put it all angles, knock you out with the head kick, knock you out with the flying knee. He has a lot of attacks. I mean, explosions, flying stuff, spins. So he could try to set you up a lot of the time. But, his last fight, obviously, like I said, we didn't really get to see much. He has slowed down in previous fights. He does hold his hands low, and he's hittable. In his fight against Terrion Ware, I mean, that was a very close fight. But he is obviously probably going to be improving. He's a dynamic striker. He's fun to watch. And his grappling are what fighters are going to have to try to exploit probably. But he is good in the clinch. He actually has good foot sweeps, good body locks. His takedown defense is a bit questionable. I've seen him get taken down by Andre Sukumtad. I've saw him get taken down several times throughout his career. I've seen him, in an amateur fight kind of break and quit to baby punches to the back of the head on the ground, where I felt like, that was a clean finish. I thought he lost that fight. But, we have seen him working in these jiu-jitsu competitions. We saw him sub Takanori Gomi. So he is improving in that realm as well. I do think Eddie Wineland is going to be stronger in the clinch here. And, maybe he'll be able to take him down. But I don't know if he's going to be able to control him or do much once he does get him down. Eddie isn't really known for that either. So, the annual Eddie show is upon us. We get to see Eddie grace the octagon usually once a year. And Wineland, he's still hanging around. He's been knocked out a few times, but he's knocked out 3 of his last 5 opponents. He's still very dangerous. He looked very good in his last fight. He beat a guy that's a good striker, Grigory Popov, that switches stances, that can kick. So, it was a guy that has a similar striking style to Sean O'Malley. And, he's getting a big opportunity here to jump back into the mix of the top 10. He's a savage, man. He goes in there for war. He's not going to be worried about O'Malley at all. I expect Wineland to have the same game plan he had in his last fight. Forward pressure, never take a step back, throw to kill. Like I said, his last opponent, Grigory Popov, was a kicker as well. And Wineland needs to use that same game plan to jam the kicks of O'Malley. Wineland has a crazy style on the feet. He holds his hands totally down, has his head right in the air. He's almost baiting opponents to throw at him. His calling card throughout his career has been that big right hand. Likes to come in and shoot that right hand body and head. He'll come forward behind jabs, really nice straight. But I wish he'd throw more jabs. He kind of gets away from that at times and just looks for the right. He always is looking to time his opponents with the straight right. He landed 4 consecutive straight right hands in concession before he dropped Popov. It was nasty. He eventually finished him with a really nice overhand right. He likes to slip counter with the short right hook, short left hook. Good slipping and ripping ability in the pocket. He still has that hand speed. You can't make a mistake against him. Doesn't throw very many kicks, but he has shown the ability in the past. He has hard round kicks. He's gotten head kick knockouts. Wineland, he comes very hard in the first round. And so Sean must be ready for that. Wineland has a very good chin. He doesn't mind being hit. Very durable. He has been finished by strikes just 2 times in almost 40 fights. 15 knockouts. 5 of his 6 wins in the UFC have came by KO. So he goes in there trying to take your head off. He's also a good wrestler. He did mix it up, shoot a couple takedowns on Popov. Decent doubles. I do feel Wineland will be stronger in the clinch. But he only has 2 takedowns in 13 UFC fights. He has defended 86% of the takedowns in the UFC. He's been taken down just 1 time in his last 12 fights. So I just don't see either guy really looking to get it to the ground. I think this fight may play out closer than the line indicates. The fight is pretty obvious how it's going to play out. It's going to be Sean O'Malley's kicks versus Eddie Wineland's punches. Eddie's forward pressure versus the ability of Sean to fight moving backwards. Eddie's going to be pressuring hard, looking to land that right hand. Sugar is obviously going to be moving, angling, looking to keep the distance, be tricky, time a shot that turns the lights out. O'Malley, I think, will use a lot of front kicks, front knees up the middle. I don't really want him to punch much with Eddie. He can sometimes throw one-and-done combinations with the hands moving backwards and be there to be hit afterwards. O'Malley is going to have the speed, the youth, the reach. You know, he has a lot more tools to his advantage. He has knees. He has spin kicks. We saw Eddie get dropped by that spinning back kick to the head against Renan Barão. I think Eddie may have some moments, but I think Sean's going to land the harder, more significant strikes, the flashier techniques, and I actually think this is going to be a decision. I see a lot of people thinking Sean O'Malley is going to run through Eddie, knock him out in the first round. I don't see that happening. I think it's going to go to decision, but I'm going to go with Sean O'Malley. Up next here, we have a really fun matchup. I like this fight. Neil Magny taking on Anthony Rocco Martin. And good matchmaking here. Neil Magny, he's going to be looking to make it 2 in a row post-suspension. He came back with a bang. He dominated the streaking Li Jingling Leech. He was a big underdog. And he's been keeping busy. He's been one of the main training partners for Justin Gaethje during his champ camp. And knocking off Martin would likely earn Magny a top 10 opponent. For Anthony Rocco Martin, he's been a force since moving up to 170, 5-1, knocked off several tough opponents along the way. He's coming off an impressive win over Ramazan Emeev in Russia. He was an underdog in that fight. And Martin has a lot of motivation right now. Not only is this the last fight on his UFC deal, but also we saw his mom is dealing with cancer. This is a put up or shut up fight for Martin. If he can't get by Magny at this point in his career, may never be able to beat a top 10 guy. And this is a really fun fight. On the feet, I do kind of favor Rocco Martin. Neil is long. He's going to probably have success with the jab. I see him throwing a lot of front kicks, knees up the middle. Both guys like to work off the jab, off the 1-2. Neil's more about touching, throws more volume. Rocco puts more power into the cross, has more bad intentions. Whoever's going first on the feet, I think is going to have success. Rocco's style on the feet is pretty basic, but it's effective. He has a good in and out movement, distance control, fakes and feints. Very good at using his upper body feints to open up his low calf kicks, follow with the cross. One of the deadliest low calf kicks in the division. He only needs a couple to change the complexion of the fight. And he just can't be lazy here. He has to keep on that calf, go forward, stay sharp, look to back Magny up, make him pay when he tries to jab and when he tries to throw combinations, when he tries to get inside. Can't let Magny outwork him, can't let Magny out-volume him. And, I think Magny's going to be trying to pop his head back with a jab and then clinch. Magny's very effective in the clinch. Almost all the time Magny scores his takedowns are from the clinch as well. His length is a major advantage. It allows him to really, get body locks very easily. Magny does a very good job with his forehead. He'll head position very well, grind it into his opponent's jaw, break their posture. Magny will... From there, he's very good at just muscling the guy to the mat, looking for trips, good outside trip. He'll also reach all the way around, secure a wrist ride on that far arm, and this kind of allows Magny to take the back. Magny can land hard punches, elbows, good knees. He's going to be a lot bigger, just leaning on Rocco, grinding him against the cage. It's going to be good for him if he can do it. The issue with that is Rocco's actually very good at digging underhooks, disengaging, very good get-ups when he gets taken down as well, great cardio. Neil doesn't really shoot in unless he's against the cage, but if opponents do shoot in, Rocco has a nasty array of submission counters. Sick sprawl, good front headlock series, multiple choke variations, sick Kimura. He was able to nullify the top game of Damian Maia largely. He stood up from bottom against Maia. He threatened Maia with the guillotine, briefly mounted him, passed Maia's guard late in the 3rd round. He was able to sweep a Jiu-Jitsu world champion in Sergio Moraes. He submitted multiple black belts in the UFC. Rocco did struggle early in his career with takedown defense being controlled, but I think he shared that up going to 70s. I just don't think Rocco's going to let Neil outwork him, and he's better than him everywhere. He's a better submission grappler. He's a better striker. I think the only way Neil wins here is if he can establish his grappling, really establish that size advantage, control Rocco against the cage for large periods of time, wear him out, and then just out-volume him on the feet. But Rocco to me is more durable. He's willing to turn it up to win. This is his fight to win to me or to lose. I see him winning it. I'm going to take Rocco Martin via decision. I think it's going to be fun here in Rocco fight with no crowd talking all that shit that he does. It should be cool. You know, I think Rocco Martin is going to go in there and get it done. I just think he's good enough to beat a guy like Neil Magny at this point in his career. Has to know that the low calf kick is going to be a big factor. Keep on that calf like he did Ramazan Ameev. And he should be able to get the victory here. So I think he may be able to even hurt that calf bad enough to where he can get on top and find a submission. But I'm actually going to go with Rocco Martin via decision here. Man, God, Lee, this fight, man, this is an amazing fight. Aljamain Sterling, Corey Sandhagen. This is #1 contenders fight, pretty obviously. I mean, this could have been the title fight as well, but obviously they're doing Petr Yan versus Aldo for the title fight. But man, I mean, two guys, talk about guys that are streaking, that are peaking in their careers. Aljo, obviously, you know, he's fought the better competition. I think that's inarguable, even though he might have some losses mixed in there as well. But he's been in the UFC for a lot longer. He's more seasoned. He's had losses. He's came back. He's improved. And Corey Sandhagen, so far, he's been flawless in the UFC. He's come out. Every opponent that they've given him, he's been able to style on him, beat him up, and look good while doing it. So you can't take anything away from Corey Sandhagen. But these guys have taken kind of different paths to get here. Aljo took the long path, had some losses, had to grind it out, you know, beat a lot of high-level guys. Whereas Corey Sandhagen, he's been able to shoot straight up to the top in 5 fights. So looking at this fight, I mean, on the feet, I definitely think Sandhagen is the more technical, better striker if they're in a kickboxing match. But the way Aljo has started implementing all this craziness that he throws, all these front kicks, elbows, knees, straight punches, and he's just keeping the volume at an insane rate, like throwing 15, 16 strikes a minute, and all at that time, throughout the whole time, he's feinting level changes. The guy's very long. He's going to have a reach advantage over Sandhagen, which I don't think Sandhagen is going to be used to at all, and he's going to just be able to, he's just tricky, man. He makes it hard for guys. He really just frustrates them. He's awkward. He's annoying. He's annoying to fight, which, you know, that gives you an advantage on the feet because he's going to be always throwing volume, always doing something, and it's not going to allow Sandhagen to get in that rhythm where Sandhagen, man, I mean, that dude is so clean. He has great movement. He switches stances seamlessly, fantastic kicks, great punches, great combinations, excellent at ripping the body. I mean, some of the best body punches, body, knees in the UFC. Definitely, you know, could hurt Aljo to the body. But the thing that you notice right away when you look at these two guys is, I mean, Aljamain Sterling is going to be the better grappler in my opinion. Corey Sandhagen, his defense, takedown defense in the UFC is like 20%, 27%, something like that, very low. He has gotten taken down in every UFC fight that he's been in. And I've seen guys like John Lineker almost take his back. I've seen guys like Assuncao almost take his back. These are short, small, stubby guys. If a guy like Aljamain Sterling, who's long, has that reach, if he gets in those positions, he's going to take the back. And man, I mean, we've seen Lineker get in on a pretty deep choke. We've seen Yuri get in on a pretty deep armbar. I mean, Corey Sandhagen has had some bad moments on the ground, but when you look at Corey Sandhagen in his fight against Rafael Assuncao, extremely impressive scrambling ability, man. I mean, his ability to threaten submissions and use that to get into a more enviable position, take top position, get back to his feet. Extremely good, just elite. But Aljo is the king of that, man. He's the king of Scramble City. He loves getting in these scrambles, catching weird submissions. We've seen him get like a banana split. We've seen him, you know, almost get full Nelsons. This guy, I mean, he could catch shit out of nowhere. And I just think that this fight is going to be Scramble City. I don't think that it's going to be a striking match because I don't think Corey could stop the takedown. I think Aljo's going to dictate where it goes. And I think Aljo is going to be spamming takedowns, man. I think he's going to be using a lot of takedowns. And I think it's going to come down to the scrambling ability of Sandhagen and the cardio. Who's going to have better cardio? Who's going to be able to stay in that grind, that wrestling grind, the scramble grind? And who's going to be able to, is Sandhagen be able to continuously get back up? And eventually you're going to see him start to land the harder shots, land some body shots, hurt Aljo, discourage Aljo, start walking him down? Or are you going to see Aljo establish that wrestling, win the scrambles, start to have more success in the striking, and run away with it with that volume, with that pace, man. I mean, Aljo's pace is incredible. His volume is incredible. He's going to throw more shots than Sandhagen, and he's going to be the one, in my opinion, dictating the pace of the fight, because he's going to be the one that can grapple. I think that in the clinch, he's much more physical as well. Man, when I first saw this fight on paper, I really thought I was going to be heavy on Sandhagen. I was going to pick him here. I was going to bet on him. But after watching the tape on the fight, I'm going to go with Aljamain Sterling to win, man. I think he's going to be able to get takedowns. I think he's going to win the scrambles. And I think he might take his back and submit him, man. I really do. I think he could get the submission on Sandhagen or a decision victory. But I'm actually going to go with Aljamain Sterling here, something I didn't think I was going to do. So the pick for me is Aljo Sterling. Up next here, the co-main event, 135 pounds. Now this is the co-main over Aljo and Sandhagen is crazy. But Rafael Assuncao, Cody Garbrandt. We know the deal here. I mean, both these guys are elite level guys. They've been in the top 5 for a long time, especially Assuncao. But they've hit hard times. Cody Garbrandt, he's lost 3 consecutive fights. Assuncao's lost 2 in a row. Obviously, we all know Garbrandt, former champ, lost 3 fights in a row by knockout. Gets very emotional, bad decision making, and his chin has been a victim of that decision making. So he's gotten to war with guys like Pedro Munoz, TJ Dillashaw, floated his chin, got it clipped, got knocked out, and now against a guy like Rafael Assuncao, this is a super dangerous fight for Cody Garbrandt. Rafael Assuncao, he's fought the who's who. He's fought a lot more experienced guys, a lot better guys than Cody has. I mean, Cody does have that win over Dom Cruz, but other than that, no marquee victories really. Rafael Assuncao has beaten a lot of elite level guys. George Masvidal, TJ Dillashaw, Rob Font, Pedro Munoz, just guys that are just elite level guys. And Cody just hasn't faced a lot of those guys. But, man, I mean, Cody Garbrandt is going to be a lot faster, I feel like. He's going to probably have the better boxing. And, he could outclass him here. He could maybe even take Rafael Assuncao down. But, man, I mean, Assuncao, this is a dangerous fight. And I'm leaning Assuncao, and I'll tell you why. Because Assuncao is one of the best counter punchers in the 135-pound division's history. He doesn't counter with one punch, man. This guy counters with 2, 3, 4 shots. If Cody Garbrandt makes one mistake and Rafa lands that counter on his chin, it could be lights out for Cody Garbrandt, and I just can't trust that chin, man. And we saw in Rafa's last fight against the really elite guy like Corey Sandhagen, he landed some clean counters. And Sandhagen has a chin, man, because he just ate him clean. Rafa isn't the guy that can knock you out with one shot, but we've seen him drop Rob Font. We've seen him knock out Matthew Lopez out cold. And against a chinny guy like Cody Garbrandt, if he touches that chin, I would not be shocked if he knocked him out. He's going to be the lot bigger guy in there, a lot more physical if they clinch up. And I believe that on the mat, he's going to have the better jiu-jitsu. I don't think Cody's just going to be able to out-wrestle him here. I've seen Cody training a lot of grappling on social media, so I don't know what that's about. I mean, maybe he's going to try to grapple because he thinks his chin isn't as good. But, I mean, Cody could come out here and starch him. He could come out here look incredible. Assuncao, 37 years old. He's obviously probably on the decline. But I thought Assuncao still looked good in his last fight when he fought Sandhagen. He was able to get several takedowns. He was able to land some nice well-timed counters. He hung in there for 3 rounds. I'm going to go with Rafael Assuncao to get a knockout at some point during the fight. I think he's just going to catch the chin. Cody, knock him out. And this is the co-main event, but I'm a lot more interested in a lot of other fights on this card. But I'm going to go with Rafael Assuncao by KO. And lastly here, we have the main event of the evening. Amanda Nunes taking on Felicia Spencer, defending that 145-pound belt of hers. And for Nunes, obviously, even though Spencer is one of her lesser-named opponents that she's had in a long time, I believe she's actually going to be still motivated for this fight because it is her first title defense at 145 pounds. And one of the things that she's always been talking about for a long time is she wants to be the first person to simultaneously defend 135, 145. So this is her chance to do it. If she can win this fight, this will be her first title defense at 145. And looking at this fight, I mean, it's pretty obvious what's going to go down, right? I mean, Nunes on the feet, way better. I mean, astronomically better, not even close. Nunes is going to be teeing off on Spencer. I mean, Spencer's defense is terrible. Comes forward like a zombie. Just not impressive with their striking at all, man. I mean, I don't think she's going to land very many shots on Amanda Nunes. She is, very tough, good forward pressure. And she did land that elbow on Chris Cyborg. So, I mean, it's not like... I'm not going to say she's not going to land any shots, but I don't think, the likelihood of her hurting Nunes or dropping her or doing anything on the feet substantial is very minimal. Amanda Nunes is going to have the major advantage striking on the feet, and it's just going to come down to the durability of Spencer and the cardio of Amanda Nunes. We've seen Felicia Spencer, when she fought Chris Cyborg, man, I mean, she was eating flush hammers in combination to the chin, and she's just walking through them. She was eating those shots like nothing, and we all know how hard Chris Cyborg hits. So, I mean, that was extremely impressive. I mean, she has one of the best chins I've ever seen on a female MMA fighter, straight up. It was insane the shots she was taking in that fight. I think it would have put out a lot of other girls, and maybe she got wobbled a couple times, but she never dropped. She was never visibly rocked that badly. And I do believe a girl like Cyborg has better cardio than Nunes, and she can keep that pace up. And that was only 3 rounds as well. But, I mean, obviously when you have that poor level of defense, you're fighting a girl like Amanda Nunes, the chance of you getting knocked out in the first round is always there. And the chance of you getting knocked out in any round, honestly, is always there. But obviously, the path to victory for Felicia is if she can just continue to walk her down, get her so tired that she can get on top, take the back in a dominant position, and finish the fight, get a submission. So, I mean, she's just going to have to be dogged, forward pressure, eat the shots, try to clinch up, force as many grappling exchanges with Amanda as possible. And eventually, if she can get it to the ground, she has to capitalize and find her moment and finish the fight, get the victory. So, I mean, that's her path to victory. For Amanda, I mean, I think that's easier said than done for Felicia. I mean, Felicia, the girls that she's been submitting on the ground, low-level girls that aren't high-level on the ground at all. I mean, Megan Anderson, Zara Farn, or whoever that girl is called. I mean, it even took her 4 rounds to submit Pam Sorensen, who's just kind of like a strong girl. And Amanda Nunes is a black belt in jiu-jitsu. She's a black belt in judo. She's going to be very hard, very tough to take down in the clinch. I think that even if she does get taken down, I mean, unless she's completely exhausted, I think she's going to know how to defend herself against a girl like Spencer. I mean, Spencer is going to need to get into a dominant position like the back or a full mount or something and go to work quickly, get Amanda out. Because I think Amanda, she's much more competent on the ground than a lot of people want to give her credit for. She was, keeping her hands inside a lot when she fought GDR. She got caught in some triangles. But, I mean, that's irrelevant in my opinion in this fight. I mean, GDR is a long girl with, good, build to throw up triangles off her back. If she takes down a girl like Felicia Spencer, I don't really see Felicia throwing up triangles. I mean, maybe she'll be able to attack an arm or something like that. But, I don't think Felicia... I've never seen her off her back attacking. I mean, I don't think Amanda will even take her down either. So, I just feel like Amanda... I don't know if she's going to knock her out, though, man. Spencer has a sick, elite chin, and maybe it could go all 5 rounds. I think it could go all 5 rounds, potentially, and Amanda Nunes takes a decision. I mean, I don't think Felicia Spencer has no chance. Obviously, plus 475. That's not, the biggest underdog we've ever seen in a title fight or anything like that. I believe she was a way bigger favorite. Spencer was when she fought Zara Farn than Amanda is versus Spencer. But I I got to go with the man in Nunes here. I just can't get off the train. I don't think Spencer has the striking. I think people are kind of underestimating Nunes' ground game a little bit. I don't think it's as easy as if Spencer could take her down, the fight will be over. I think that Nunes will have to get worn down, get very tired to make a mistake to get taken down and finished. So the pick for me is going to be Nunes via decision here to retain her belt. And this week we're not going to be doing a parlay of the week. I'm going to just do a play of the week, which is going to be an underdog already, so that's why I'm not doing the parlay. And that play is going to be Jussier Formiga. So that is going to be the play of the week. I'll put that down in the description. And my most confident pick is probably, you know, Sean O'Malley, something like that. But I don't want to give you that big of a favorite. So I'll say the most confident pick is going to be Chase Hooper this week. I do believe that he has a good chance to get it done. So the most confident pick is Chase Hooper. Play of the week is Jussier Formiga. Good luck, guys. Hopefully we can cash again. We did well last week. I believe the last couple weeks we've done well. And thanks for watching. Make sure to comment, like, subscribe. Let me know what you thought of the video. Let me know what I can improve on. What you think can get a little bit better. What you thought about the picks, everything. So thanks for watching, guys. Would love the feedback, and talk to you guys soon.